Today on All Out Brick, we're going to be hitting up Hydraxon. We're going to build the set, review it, and then give out a score. Let's get started. Hey everyone, I'm Christian from All Out Brick. Welcome to another Mata Nui Monday. As always, the best way to tag along with us every week is to subscribe and turn on notifications. This week, we're going to be building set number 8923, Hydraxon, which was a set released during the 2007 line of Bionicle under the Warriors sub-theme. Hydraxon is a former member of the Hand of Artakha and Order of Mata Nui. He was once called upon to train the Toa Mata. Remember them from way back when? At one point, the Mask of Life transformed our old pal Dekar into a replica of Hydraxon. The replication carried over all of Hydraxon's memories and thoughts, which made Dekar think he was always Hydraxon. Taking a look at the packaging, the front of the box is pretty straightforward. We got an image of Hydraxon firing off his Kordak blaster. Of course, underwater, we're still in Mari Nui. There's a couple little tentacles flying around in the underwater background, some silhouettes, nice little details. In the top, we've got the Bionicle logo and the Hydraxon set name. And in the bottom left corner, we've got the ages 8 to 16 and the set number 8923. When we look at one of the sides of the box, we got a pretty cool looking border here. Unlike with Lesovic, who had the gold background, we've got this rusty bronzed color, which is really cool that they shook it up from packaging to packaging, makes it unique for Hydraxon. And on the back of the box, we've got quite the convolution here. We've got the main center stage Hydraxon photo of him posed with his Kordak blaster up and his other weapons down. It's got some different visualizations of Voya Nui and Mari Nui, and there's also some visualizations of the Kordak blaster function, along with some of the different ball functions and hand functions on Hydraxon. At the bottom, we've got images of two sets we're going to be taking a look at very shortly. We've got Maximus and Spinax, and we've also got Gadunka. Just judging from the box art, Hydraxon looks like he's going to be a pretty beefy and loaded up build. I'm pretty excited to see how it turns out. Let's go ahead and knock out the build. Alright, after 23 minutes, we've got Hydraxon done right off the bat. I'm going to let you know, this is the most fun that I've had with a build in really quite some time. I just loved every different part of the construction. It was a lot of fun, all the different assemblies and building methods and different pieces used. It was a lot of fun, really enjoyable. Those 23 minutes flew by. Alright, now onto the model. We've got an awesome looking model with Hydraxon. The pieces just come together very well. They blend together well. The color scheme is very well done, and there's just not too much sticking out. My favorite kind of style with Bionicle is where you can't really tell where the different sections connect. You just see all this detail and all this connections, and it just creates an awesome looking final model. That's what we get with Hydraxon, and what really stood out to me when I finished it was like, wow, this is an excellent model. He really transcends above that typical Bionicle construction. The proportions are equally well done. I don't think anything feels too big or too small. They showed restraint in different areas to make the rest of the model feel very well balanced. One specific area that this is done is the legs. Normally we've got some pretty beefy legs and a lot of detail that we see in the legs. With Hydraxon, they kind of toned it down a little bit, which I guess you could see maybe you're disappointed by that, but quite honestly, I think they just make the scale and the different proportions match very well together, and the legs just have enough detail, and they got great stability thanks to these piston pieces that we were introduced to in 2006, maybe a little earlier actually, but they do a great job there. They include enough detail, and the rest of the model is just packed with detail. I mean, anywhere you look, you're going to find great detail. Take a look at that mid-torso section. It's one of my favorite areas of the model. We've got all these tubes going around, and they connect to the mask, they connect to the front, back of the torso. They just look excellent. They add extra detail where we need it. When you take a closer look at those arms, you'll notice that we use feet pieces up at the shoulders as some padding. It's just very ingenious what they did to create a very great, unique look with Hydraxon, using pieces we've already had, molds we've already had. Not a whole lot of new stuff in this one, but they just find new ways to use this. They're very resourceful with the parts that are available to them. He's got weapons all over him. I mean, on one arm, he's got this like triple Wolverine blade looking thing, and then of course on the other arm, he's gonna have his Kordak blaster. They both look really, really great. They're really different constructions for this different wrist-mounted options, and then they don't even sacrifice something that they typically do sacrifice, which are hands. We get hands with Hydraxon, and not just any hands. We've got some different articulating fingers that you can move around, and it gets a little tough because they're not the most secure connections, but they do what they need to do, and they just include hands anyways. You know, when we think of Kitangu and those 2005 Titan sets, we were really sacrificing hands there because we needed to include some weapon functions. Hydraxon really solves that problem, and he's this warrior set with all these different weapons. He's got some back-mounted spikes that are just awesome. I can't imagine dealing damage with those or something like that in a battle, but they just include so much all over this model, and then they just don't go too far overboard where it feels like it's a little too much. It doesn't feel like that to me at all. I think they just balance the proportions, the amount of detail, and just the use of parts very, very well. He's a very well executed set. Another big positive for Hydraxon for me is the mask design. It feels very different. It doesn't really remind me of something we've seen previously in this year or another year, and it feels very just organic, I guess the look is. It feels like it's not super detailed, but just the sculpting of it and the mold they made for it are just so enjoyable. I think it really highlights him as like this ancient creature. I think is kind of what I see is like, yeah, he's got some age and wisdom to him, but it's also like this pretty nice, gnarly looking underwater mask that's going to help him out in battle. Really awesome job with the mask there. To be quite honest, the only downside I really had with this model, and one of them actually went away when I was trying to film some background shots for this review. Number one is going to be the friction at the shoulders. It's a bit hit and miss. I honestly couldn't film myself getting it to miss where it was just dropping down a whole lot. Although when I was testing out the model and just moving it around before I filmed the review, I couldn't really get it to stay up, and it just got a little trouble, a little bit too much weight in those arms, which is what I was really afraid of when we got all those pieces. But when I went to go film it, it was fine, and the shoulders work excellent, so just know you might get hit and miss there because they don't use the rubberized friction sockets. And then, of course, on the Kordak blaster, there's just a little bit of a con there, and it's not with the function. I've talked about that in various videos for this 2007 line of Bionicle. It's not going to go into a whole lot of detail there, but it has some friction issues in terms of the wrist mount. You really can't position it up. I was trying to get it to look like it does on the back of the box where it's just pointed up in the air and it's like on top of his wrist, I guess, but it doesn't stay up. It likes to fall down because there's just not enough friction in that blue Technic axle pin to hold the entire Kordak blaster up. I mean, it is what it is. I wish it was a little better, and maybe on a different type of hinge, maybe we could use that ball joint on the Kordak blaster on the other side, and that would have allowed us a ton of movement there. So maybe a slight little mod there, and you can have a really versatile Kordak blaster. But what we've got in the set that they gave us, just a little lacking in terms of the movability there. Overall, Hydraxon is an awesome top tier Bionicle set. He's going to look incredible on display. He's pretty good with the playability, not outstanding, but pretty dang good there. He's an awesome model and a really enjoyable build, like top tier level enjoyable build and top tier level set. I mean, he's got just about everything you could want out of a Bionicle set. Of course, he's not like super grand or the biggest or, the most pieces, so he's not going to get scored the highest or anything like that, but boy, this is a really awesome set. I really love what we got with Hydraxon. Just the level of detail seen all throughout the model, the different part usage, the different inclusions of various weapon methods, and the building style. It's just everywhere you look, you're going to find something positive. There was really only one negative that I had with this set in this entire review, and that was a little nitpicky thing with the Kordak blaster. So you're just getting so much to enjoy here. Awesome mask design, really expands Mari Nui and gives us a brand new character for Mari Nui. Boy, I would just love it. What's not to love, though, is maybe the price a little bit. I mean, it's not too high, but if you're going to buy the set in used condition, expect to pay around like $100 US, which really isn't that bad. In brand new sealed condition, it's going to be exactly double that, right now around $200 US, which is where you're starting to get to that more expensive zone, and you just really got to decide, like, hey, is there anything I need brand new in this set? Personally, I don't think there's anything you need brand new sealed. I didn't have any problems with the pieces at all. I mean, there's a lot of small little pieces, so maybe you could run into some issues where they're missing parts when you buy it in used condition because there's just a lot of small ones, but I didn't run into that problem, and I bought this set used. I don't see a reason to buy this set brand new unless you're a collector and looking for some awesome sealed sets. This is going to be one of them. In terms of a score, I'm going to give Hydraxon an 8.7. Pretty great score. I mean, that puts him in that top tier echelon of our Bionicle reviews. I just really can't say anything other than he's just an awesome experience building, and then when you're done, you're going to have an incredible display model, a pretty good playable model. He's got so many different weapon functions. He's very stable. He's got all the articulation you could want. He improves upon all the different downfalls we've seen throughout different Titan sets. Great stability, awesome play functions, usage of hands, awesome mask design. There's just so much to love, and I think he's worthy of that, upper tier of Bionicle. I just couldn't push him up into that super high 8 range or the 9 range because it's just not big enough of a model to do that. No offense, Hydraxon. You just got to be a little bit bigger to get into that super top tier range for Bionicle. So 8.7, that's your review. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel to be the first to see all of our future content. Also be sure to check us out on our website and on our Facebook and Instagram pages. Until next time, stay bricking.